I'm going to have to talk about the DC Capitol building Viking guy, aren't I? You know, I was really hoping I'd be able to get away without talking about him, but I guess I kind of have to, don't I? Oh, this is going to take beer. Okay. So, let's get one thing out of the way right at the top. This guy that we've all seen pictures of, he's not dressed like a Viking, is he? No. I think we all know he's not dressed like a Viking. In fact, I think we all know he's not even trying to dress like a Viking. I think we all know that, don't we? The reason we're calling him the Viking guy is because of three things. 3 tattoos that this individual possesses. Oh, and let's get one more thing out of the way, straight at the top here. His name and face do not appear on my channel. Ever. If you want to comment on this video, you refer to him as that guy. You don't use his name, please. Please don't use his name. He hasn't earned the right to be featured in front of you guys. Doesn't deserve that. My subscribers, you guys all rock. He's an asshole. So, let's keep his face and his name off this channel. Okay? Thank you for your understanding. So, the Viking aspect of what happened at the Capitol building in Washington, D.C. The Viking aspect of it. The net Viking content of that entire failed coup is 3 tattoos on one man's body. First, we have the Valknut, which is a pretty pattern that some people think is associated with Odin, because it appears on some carved stones from the Viking Age, usually next to Odin. Second, we have Yggdrasil, the world tree, again, from Norse mythology. And third is Mjolnir, Thor's hammer. And if you don't know what Thor's hammer is, you have officially been living under a rock for the last few years, because it is all over the shop. Individually, and in an early medieval Scandinavian or Norse context, these things are fine. If I were to find something as an archaeologist that had these things on them from 1,000 years ago, I'd be really pleased, because it would mean that we had something identifiably Norse on our hands, which is cool. The problem is a word that archaeologists like me use an awful lot of the time, and that word is context. The context that you find something in is basically the surroundings that you find it in. What's around it? What's in its immediate environment? In the context of this Thor's hammer, it is in the hand of an archaeologist and reenactor who has an interest in the Viking Age. In the context of finding a Thor's hammer in a 1,100-year-old grave, it's probably a Norse person. The context of these tattoos, the thing surrounding these tattoos, is the flesh. The hairy flesh, the white hairy flesh of a Nazi. And that's not Viking. I've done an entire other video explaining how the Nazis co-opted Viking and Norse mythology and ideology, so we don't really need to go into it in much depth, but he's not dressed as a Viking, is he? No, he is a nasty, horrid little Nazi thug wearing some symbols of Norse mythology, which have been co-opted by Odinists and Wotanists to further a right-wing, white supremacist, anti-Semitic ideology. I've now had enough of talking about this, so let's talk about what he actually is wearing. So this island is wearing a mockery of the buffalo cap. You might have seen this elsewhere. In fact, I can guarantee that a lot of you have seen this somewhere, and you've just sort of forgotten about it. And you will have seen it here. Recognise this guy? This is the Grand Poobah from the Loyal Order of Water Buffaloes from the 60s cartoon, The Flintstones. Way back in the 60s. So, the buffalo cap has been co-opted by white Western popular culture for a long time. But it actually has a real use and a real symbolism, and it is fascinating. Because this is a specific piece of regalia worn by members of certain tribes and confederacies who live on and around the Great Plains of North America. And that includes the Arapaho, the Cheyenne, the Sutai, basically, the Sioux, certain Blackfoot tribes. And it is a very particular piece of headgear. You don't just wear this headgear if you're a member of these tribes. This is a ceremonial piece of regalia awarded to members of the tribe who have done great things, who have done valorous deeds in battle, who have helped save the tribe from certain destruction. It is effectively a war bonnet. Now, there are lots and lots of different types of war bonnets, and I'm not going to go into the details of them. But this particular war bonnet has some amazing stories associated with it. One of them is the story of the Great Race, which is a part of Sutai culture that talks about how man and the buffalo had a race to see if man would eat buffalo or if buffalo would eat man. And very humbling is the fact that man loses, but the magpie joins the side of man and wins on behalf of mankind, allowing people to eat the buffalo instead of buffalo eating people. Thanks, magpie. Another story associated with the buffalo cap, and yes, I have turned this into a segue about indigenous North American culture and regalia, I'm that good, is the story of one of the, I suppose you could call him a warrior or a brave young man of, I believe, one of the Cheyenne or Sioux. I think it's a Sioux story. I think it's a Sioux story, where a brave young man fights a dragon. And this dragon has been killing other members of this tribe. It's killed several warriors. I think 4 warriors had been killed by this dragon, and it has great horns sticking out of its head. Until this warrior runs up, kills the dragon, cuts off its head, snaps its horns off, and sews the horns onto a buffalo hide cap to wear them as a sign, as a symbol of his valour, of his bravery, and then passes it on to his son, and that gets passed down as a symbol of valour and bravery in this tribe. So it doesn't actually represent a buffalo in this context at all. It represents defeating a dragon, defeating a great beast, a great threat to the tribe. One of the concepts that my American viewers are probably aware of is the concept of stolen valour. Now, if you don't know what stolen valour means, stolen valour is basically where you wear something you don't have a right to, usually in the context of military decorations, so medals, symbols of service, uniforms, that sort of thing. If you wear a military medal that you don't have a right to wear, that is classed as stolen valour, and I believe, in some cases, it's a crime in the USA. Please do let me know in the comments if that's the case. I think it is. However, as far as I know, and as far as I've been able to tell, wearing the buffalo cap doesn't currently count as stolen valour in American law, which is a pity, because that's exactly what it is. These are still given. This is an active culture. This is an active part of this culture, giving the honour of wearing the buffalo cap. It's very similar to wearing the war bonnet made of eagle feathers. If you're given one eagle feather, it's a great honour. It is a great honour to be awarded an eagle feather. It is a huge symbol of your valour, of your dedication, of your upstanding and honourable nature. Same with the buffalo cap. If you are allowed to wear a buffalo cap, you are an august individual. You have done something worthy of great honour and respect. And to mock that is not only an insult, it is not only a dishonourable act, it is incredibly stupid. It is an incredibly stupid thing to steal the valour of an active culture whilst also displaying co-opted symbols of another unrelated culture, whilst also, at various times, professing to be a Christian, and he did that, whilst also engaging in a failed coup, whilst also being a patsy for your impotent orange fascist overlord, and then getting thrown under the bus immediately. He's not dressed as a Viking. He was never trying to be dressed as a Viking. He was trying to mock native North American culture, and all he managed to do is look like a complete and utter. On behalf of myself and everyone involved with the channel, I want to take this opportunity to apologise to all those members of the Sutai people, the Cheyenne, the Arapaho, the Sioux, the Blackfoot, and any other tribes who were directly offended and insulted by this. And I also want to take this opportunity in front of my 5,000 plus subscribers to say, fuck Trump. Don't bring that shit here. It's not welcome on my channel. I've got to deal with enough idiots pretending that they're smarter than me, trying to hide their right-wing racist views behind polysyllabic words and hyperbole. Fuck off. That's about all I wanted to say, really. It's not a long one this week, but I think it's important that we address this. And I have been sent lots of pictures and lots of memes saying how to get his look, how to dress up like this guy and mock him. Please, please don't dress up like this guy. Don't encourage anybody to dress up like this guy. Not even lightheartedly, because if you dress up how this guy dressed up, you are dressing in a mockery of a really important, serious, genuine piece of regalia. This is a very important thing for thousands and thousands of people. And the cultures of many of the indigenous peoples of North America have been co-opted and stolen outright and abused for centuries now by white people, by white settlers, and others across the world. And don't do it. It's not clever, it's not big, it's not sticking it to the man in any way. Just rightly denounce people like this for who they are. Horrible Nazi thugs.